Hey Kevin, how are you?
I'm good,
Thank you for
man.
joining the meeting.
Pleasure. How are you doing?
I'm good, not too bad. Lovely meeting you.
Likewise.
I've had this talk, similar talk with other leaders in the industry, lawyers and managers of law firms, and some of them are alternative legal service providers. I understand you fit in that category. And
You do, yes.
So yeah, if you can start talking a little bit about your work and yourself, that would be good for the listeners.
Yeah, okay. So I often describe myself as a recovering lawyer because I reclaim my soul. Look, I think when people look me up, they'll be like, "What is this guy?" Because we can't pigeonhole him. And I've had that my entire career, but I guess I sort of do two things. I describe my life as being put into two buckets, what I do. So the
Uh-huh.
first bucket is the one that feeds my soul. Um, and that is about running a community. It's a not-for-profit called
Mm-hmm.
Diversity X, and that's there to support what I term as underestimated founders
Mm-hmm.
and in the startups, so startups really and founders within that, and
Okay.
providing them with support, resources, programming to help them grow and scale their businesses. And I do that out of the goodness of my heart and
Mm.
my own pocket. And then the other bucket is the one that feeds my family. And that's where I use my skills as a lawyer to help startups and SMEs grow and scale by providing legal services. I've co-founded a firm, Impact Lawyers. We're actually a legal and business services provider. We're in
Okay.
the process of getting our um, ABS license, so as to be a
Okay.
regulated firm by the SRA. But
Mm-hmm.
the services we currently provide from a legal perspective are not restricted, so we can provide them as a essentially as a consultancy or alternative legal service
Okay.
provider.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Kevin. Yeah, I remember about 20 years ago, I had a firm called ILBS, International Legal and Business Solutions. So I've been doing that myself as well. So I quite resonate with you. I've always done the work as a lawyer. At the same time, on the side, I've been doing some business consultancies here and there. The last post I had was managing partner of Leonard Solicitors and then Leonard Lawyer, Leonard Legal.
Yeah,
But about 3 years ago, I decided that I remember my father was a judge and a lawyer, and he always told me that you don't have to be a lawyer all your life. There are other ways of living a life. And I felt, okay, I've done it. I've done big cases. I've managed firms. I'm a lawyer of the Council of the International Criminal Court as well. But I felt like, okay, it's enough. I want to do something that I like to do, which is AI. I love technology. And about 3 years ago, I sold my firm and purely started reading and researching and writing books about AI. So I am doing some thought leadership about the impact of AI on everything, including society. I'll talk to you about it later. At the same time, on practical level, I'm helping law firms and lawyers to AIify, to bring AI into their practice. I believe that it, if it is used properly, it can help me and you to free up some time, to save some costs, and also to generate more income, basically using AI. Yes, let's go back to the main subject of what sort of challenges law firms and lawyers they have. I think one of them is actually the technology itself. Basically, when technology comes in and clients start using it, their expectation shifts. They expect law firms to be more efficient, and they want them to actually use the technology to offer them faster, efficient services with lower costs. An example I use is a lawyer told me that I used to charge 20 hours for doing a proper contract for one of my clients. and he was happy with it. But nowadays he does the contract with ChatGPT and asks me to review it, and I can only charge him a couple of hours. This is a typical example. Other examples include how fast we respond to client inquiries. They expect fast return, even statistically, law firms across the globe realize that from 24 hours response time, it's coming even to less than 3, 4 hours. When they send an inquiry, they expect somebody to get back to them quickly. So this is how it's changing basically. So within your work, do you have some experience that you can share with us?
Yeah, ton like I'm very much like you. I mean, one of our key or core values is innovation, and we've got a very we actually have a technology arm, a separate legal entity to build technology. But things I see are, yeah, I get that all the time. Kevin, can you just look at this, please? And I was like, oh, that's ChatGPT. You can just tell now. Like they just send it like they
Mm,
might take the bit that says, that some of the wording that you get at the end of ChatGPT, but just the formatting, like that's the ChatGPT contract there. You can see
yes.
all just bullet points and things like that. It's so basic. And I said, look, this is my hourly rate. This is how long it's going to take me to essentially, I'm going to format it, put it into a proper legal document formation. You're missing like a lot of things because you asked it to produce you one thing, but you missed out all of these other pieces, which I know as a lawyer should go into a contract to make it not just legally enforceable, but a robust like mechanism to utilize.
Mm-hmm,
Mhm. But I know that because I've got 20 plus years of experience being a lawyer doing this day in, day out.
mm-hmm,
You have to know if you don't know the questions to ask the chat GPT, then you're
mm-hmm,
just always going to get this. So I look at it and say, look, but by the time I spend to redraft this contract, you're going to be spending, to be honest, almost the same. Like it might save you a little bit of time and it might save me
mm-hmm,
a little bit of time, but usually redrafting or re-editing an existing agreement is always longer. Like most lawyers will say, it's just so much quicker for me just to draft it from scratch because I know what
mm-hmm,
I'm doing. Whereas I'm editing somebody else's work, it always takes longer. Um,
mm-hmm,
uh, so it's up to you, and I give them a choice. I did have one client who told me how my job was going to go, and AI is taking it, and then said, "Can you review this contract?" To which I said, well, why don't you ask the AI to review it? Because obviously it's taking my job, right? Uh, so I I I think it has a purpose. I think it's great for responding to quick client emails. Draft the email for me to respond, but here's the contract that I'm going to attach to it. But
mm-hmm,
draft the response email, or here's the revised contract. But also, like, I don't want to put my clients' things on ChatGPT or any
mm.
other thing unless I
Yes.
know where it's going. So
Yeah,
I think there's huge risks in doing that. Um,
absolutely. Yeah, one of the challenges I notice with ChatGPT and other LLMs, they treat you as a fee-paying customer. They are not a mutual advisor, and people make a mistake, even in people who have a little bit of mental health, they get into trouble with that because nobody is telling them, look, ChatGPT is not a therapist. You ask them questions, it tries to make you happy as a customer because you are paying the fee. It's not a therapist. It tries to sympathize with you. And sometimes sympathy is not what you need. If you go to a therapist, it will actually tell you that you are wrong, about this and that. And this over sympathization and also treating you as a fee paying customer sometimes is misleading. And in our field as well, it happens. So, I mean, these LLMs never, have you ever heard that it says it's a bad idea? Whatever you ask ChatGPT, I want to do this, I want to do that. Oh, that is a great idea, blah,
that's a
blah.
great question. Yeah,
Great question. And try to sympathize with you and try to put you in the direction you have. And it's funny, if the same question is asked, for example, you ask a question, ChatGPT, your ChatGPT knows you. gives you a different answer. So the other day I was trying with my brother's phone and said, let me ask the same question. It totally give me the different answer because mine was treating me as a customer who is paying the fees and wanted to make me happy. The other one was not. So these sort of things is very important in our field of work. And clients can get legal advice from ChatGPT, but it's not 100% mutual advisor who takes clients' interest at heart, who understands the client, who knows the reasons, emotional, financial reason, and all the backgrounds. It doesn't know all that, but your client, when it comes to you, they know, you know the background, so you can give a better advice.
Yeah, I mean, I've always thought lawyers, um we don't sell like paper and documents. What we sell is expertise, which is built up over a period of time. It's why we measure ourselves, right? Like you might not be able to do it now in England because of discrimination laws and things like that. But you know, we used to talk about PQE all the time, like 2 years PQE, 3 years. That was a reference to how much experience you have, how many years
Mm,
you've been practicing, which the more experienced you are, you would have seen more. It doesn't mean you're a brilliant lawyer or a terrible lawyer, but you have a level of experience which when you're working day in, day out, you're doing the same things over and over and over, you become skilled at it. And that sort of measured skill. Now we don't have that. And like you can say, you know, ChatGPT's PhD level. Yeah, but they've not been in the trenches. Like that computer hasn't been in the trenches negotiating
mm,
a deal at 4 a.m. in the morning when you've got the finest points that you're negotiating, which, you know, it can give you the document, but it's not telling you what to say because you have to
mm,
ask it the question. And that's where the skill level, like we always sell, like a lawyer's skill is experience. You're selling experience. And
yes.
that's why, you know, hourly rates should vary because a junior lawyer has less experience. They might be skilled as a lawyer in terms of technical ability, but the experience is limited, and therefore, that what they can offer is going to be limited by that experience because they haven't seen it, they haven't done it.
Mm-mm. And that is the danger, you know. If I go to ChatGPT, I always go, you know, I don't deny it. Even advising clients, I ask this and that. I had a case the other day about a company law issue. One of my clients had an issue with the company law matter, so I went to ChatGPT. And then because I have the experience, I asked question after ChatGPT told me the angles around it. And I asked, what about this? Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. What about that? Yes, I said, why didn't you consider this? You know, yes, you are right, you know, and then I managed to get the right package out of it. Whereas if I didn't have that experience, a junior lawyer can go to ChatGPT and present a case. It gives an answer, but that answer is not a complete answer. It's a straight line answer, but it's not the full answer. It's a part of a truth, but it's not the full truth
Yeah.
about the case. And that could be dangerous. And a lot of law firms are actually using ChatGPT in different ways. But on a positive note, we have managed to prepare some knowledge base GPT for firms. You know, there is this litigation firm, they have huge caseload, they have huge years of experience in their database, and their junior lawyers sometimes forget and they ask senior lawyers, but because they have so many hundreds of cases, they wanted something that give them that knowledge instantly. So in that sense, what we did, basically we fed all the knowledge of this firm into a platform that lawyers can ask. It always gives the right answer. Why? Because the data is the right data. It's not misleading, it doesn't hallucinate, it doesn't any of that. And that part of technology is really good and it's very useful. It
Yeah.
saves them a lot of time and they have this knowledge base that is working for them.
Yeah, I think that's good, and like the big law firms have their own sort of knowledge management system. I remember when I was at Simmons and Chadbourne's, like we had our own sort of knowledge management and firm knowledge management. I think, using the AI to power those is
Mm,
amazing because it's all proprietary stuff.
mm,
It's within your own box.
yes.
I think that is absolutely brilliant, and that's what it should, and that's a great use case for it is to
Mm,
take that entire firm knowledge and be able to package it so anybody in a firm can find a piece of information. They don't have to go and ask a senior associate. So therefore, you should not get on your bill if you're the client
yes.
conversation with senior associate about X point, right?
Yes.
Like
Yes.
that should go off from a
Yeah.
from a law firm's perspective. That's something they can't now bill the client.
Yes. Yeah.
But so whilst in some senses, some pieces of work get commoditized,
Mm, mm,
but as I said before, ultimately, there are obviously cases and it depends on the type of law you practice. But when it's not purely paper pushing, when it's about a human element of negotiating, getting to a compromise, finding the best solutions, actual problem solving,
mm,
like it's the expertise, that's the human bit, that's the strategic bit that's the bit that I get the buzz from. It's not writing a contract, here's your investment document and like, pushing back, oh, like the comma here or arguing over the structure of the drafting. That's that's just what you have to do to get the deal over the
mm,
line. But
mm, mm,
actually, the value is in those strategic discussions, and it is a discussion, right? Like I'm not enforcing it on a client, I'm not turning it to the other side. It is,
mm,
in some senses, it's a strategic discussion to get the best position for your client, and that's what we're supposed to do, right?
mm, mm. There is another part of the technology that is we are using, but I want your honest opinion. Tell me, don't try to confirm that is the right way. It's an open discussion. One of the ways that we are using the technology is about client intake and also sign up. Initial contact of the client to the firms is very important. They can go away, they can go to another firm. I know it from experience. Uh, when I took over the firm back in 2020, they didn't have a proper system in place. The receptionist used to take a call, write on a piece of paper, okay, this is the name of the client, this is what they want. Gradually, we had more advanced system, but anyways, I got the best CRM systems for the firm and that helped. But nowadays, what firms are using is an AI receptionist. Basically, at your website, you have a chatbot, which is not a chatbot. It's called chatbot, but it's more than that. You don't think of it as something that just answer your questions. Basically, clients come in there, okay, introduce herself or himself and say, okay, I want advice about this and that. Can you help us? Yes, we can. They can narrow down to the area of law, the conversation, and ask, okay, what documents you need me to provide. So that was a challenge before, the receptionist should go to the lawyer. Okay, we have this client, they are sending documents. What documents should I ask them to send and this and that? So that automates that. It automatically tell them what document they need. It books consultation and it can even, get the details of the client. It's all secure. It doesn't go anywhere. It's internal. And then it automatically passes it on to the right department. That department knows who is the client, what is the case, what is the matter. A job of someone answering the call is done basically. And for busy firms, they have so many visits to their websites and they have so many calls. This is a lifesaver basically. So I don't know if you approve of that and if you have any reservation, or do you think this is the direction we should?
I think it's a type of firm, right? Like the big firms, they don't get a lot of phone calls like that,
Mm,
through referrals or good marketing. Like it's not someone just going scrolling, which I like the way I'm gonna, call them
mm,
up. Firms like mine, I think we want to get into the position where we're busy like that and it's not referrals and networks. Um,
mm,
and I think there's like, the conveyancing firms, for instance, they're going to be off the hook. The good ones, certainly.
mm,
They've got
mm,
reputation. You look at Trustpilot, you get a couple of recommendations like, boom, okay, let me just go on their website and see. Or I need a lawyer, I'm buying a house, or I need to write a will, or certain types of things.
mm.
You'll search 3 or 4 websites and go, okay, make a phone
Yes,
call.
true.
I think so. I do think across the firms, actually, AI intake is a great idea from a lead gen perspective. It gives the
Mm,
lawyer for conversation all of the
mm,
things they need. It can also direct the potential client
mm,
into thinking about what they need to have ready. If they don't have it in there, they haven't uploaded a document that you've asked for to have that
mm,
document ready for the conversation that they're going to try and book. So yeah, I mean, we use Smokeball, which
mm,
is our client management system. And in there, I've been creating a ton of different types of intake forms for leads, for new matters to help
mm,
to improve that process. And some of them are AI, like AI creates it for you. I'll tell you what it's for, the type of form it's for, intake form, and it creates,
mm,
and then you can like link, eventually we'll be able to link it to our website when we get there. But
mm,
yeah.
mm, mm, mm,
So I do think it's a good solution. Um,
mm,
I I think some firms will probably not want it, like the big firms. I can't imagine them having that, but firm like
mm,
alternative legal service providers, um, and other firms, I think, particularly like the high street type firms
mm, mm,
and even like mid-size, like it's a great way to do client intake or potential client
mm,
intake and onboarding because like the information should for them flow through, populate a lot. We can tag into our KYC
mm,
um, to then do the compliance piece, and then you've got boom, it's just please accept the terms and conditions and the client engagement letter, and let's get started
mm, mm.
work.